What is up, guys? Rick Hackus here, and it's Saturday, so it's time to go over some more amazing community-designed exotics in Destiny. Now, this is the only series that lets you submit your exotic ideas and have an artist create the concept art for it. That artist is Benjamin Radiman, who makes these amazingly realistic exotic concepts. His ArtStation is the first link in the description down below, and you should definitely check it out after the video. Not only is there more information on the exotics being showcased today, including the rest of their perks and their backgrounds, but there's also a ton more exotics that aren't being featured in today's video, as you're seeing on screen right now. If you want to check out these exotics, the only way is that ArtStation. Now I'm going to go over the proper way to submit your idea and some tips for getting selected at the end of the video. But first, let's showcase this week's fan-made exotics. Remember that all of the exotics being showcased in this week's video came from the comments section of last week's video. The first exotic concept we're going over today is a Rose by Any Other Name exotic shotgun concept by Solomon Kane. Now, this shotgun has the ability to choose between two different exotic perks. The first one is called Floats Like a Butterfly. Kills with this weapon will double your agility and recovery for 5 seconds, but not stack. That's a very interesting ability, and although that sounds very powerful, you've got to remember that there's already exotics in the game. The best example is a Red Death, that upon getting a kill with the Red Death, it just heals you almost completely. So this one, getting a kill and then just increasing your recovery and agility, may not be as insane as it sounds. I'm very interested in a shotgun that actually increases your agility with getting a kill. So that's actually quite useful. You want to be really running around quickly, you want to be jumping around quickly when you're using a shotgun, and the ability to get a kill and have that doubled is quite useful. The next exotic perk that you can select is What You Can't See. Kills with this weapon will emit a pulse that highlights enemies, points of interest, and ammo pickups up to a maximum of 8 meters for a few seconds. Now that is a very interesting perk, being able to kill an enemy with this shotgun, emitting a pulse up to 8 meters, let's say in PvP, and seeing an enemy crouching behind a wall, perhaps waiting for you to come around a corner. That is a very powerful and interesting ability for a shotgun to have. Is it overpowered? Well, I just don't know, because nothing like that has been done before in Destiny. It is a very interesting ability, and in PvE that would also be quite useful, being able to kill an enemy, and again, seeing any ammo pickups, seeing enemies that are still hiding behind walls. Maybe you're not aware of the Taken Captain hiding behind kind of a wall that you just can't see him. This will let you get the jump on him rather than the other way around. Very interesting abilities here. The next exotic concept we're going over is the QU-13-T exotic sniper rifle concept by deathbylemons 51. This sniper rifle yet again has two exotic perks that you get to choose between. The first one is called Scream of Silence. Aiming down sights with this weapon allows no red glare to be seen by other players. It also allows this weapon to be completely silent when fired. So that's really going to just let you take the stealth sniper role with this weapon, just being off in the back of the map, and without that red glare, enemies may legitimately not see you. The next exotic perk is called Whisper Weight. Your movement is completely silent, including your double jumps, but your agility is significantly decreased. That is also very, very interesting. If you think about it, especially in PvP, this weapon definitely seems like more of a PvP focused weapon. But if you kind of go around the corner, and if you're chasing someone around the corner and you hear them jump, you know they're in the air, you know where to look for. But if you can go around the corner and then just jump straight up in the air and the enemy doesn't hear it, there is a very likely chance they're just going to go not looking upwards and completely go right underneath you, giving you the advantage. Eliminating all of the noise that comes with your movement is a huge advantage in PvP. Now, significantly decreasing your agility will definitely balance that out, but it's quite an interesting ability nonetheless. I can actually totally see this sniper having like a really important niche role in like really sweaty matches where like eliminating the red glare actually would matter, and then enemies are looking for that because each teams are very, very, very competitive players. The next exotic we're going over is the Reiteration exotic scout rifle concept by Saskun. This scout rifle's exotic perk is very interesting. It's called It All Comes Back to You, and what it does is that every kill has a chance to increase the magazine size by 1 until death. Now, I see this totally as a more PvE focused weapon, because imagine that. Let's say it's a 50% chance, because it's actually not specified, but let's say it's a 50% chance. Every thrall, every acolyte, every enemy you kill before you die increases the magazine size by 1. You're going to have a 100 round magazine by the end of the strike or the raid or whatever you're doing, which is really awesome. And, you know, considering the fact that it doesn't increase damage, it doesn't like give you an overshield, doesn't do anything ridiculous, this is just purely, fairly making your magazine absolutely insane. I would actually love to see something like this introduced into the game. In PvP, it really wouldn't matter that much. I mean, increasing your magazine size, the first like 3 or 4 rounds are all that really matters, and you're gonna have to go on a pretty substantial kill streak to get a noticeable bonus. But again, in PvE, where you're killing hundreds of enemies every strike, this would be pretty insane. The next exotic concept we're going over is the Correction exotic fusion rifle concept by Ivegonefishing. And I think this idea for the exotic perk is excellent. It is so good that Bungie had better copy it in some form in the actual game. Now, that exotic perk is the Correction. Charging the weapon while aiming down sights will fill a bar at the top of the scope. The more the bar is filled, the more range and the tighter the shot pattern of the resulting blast. Now, this is just so awesome because I can't believe this hasn't been thought of. Essentially, what this perk is that every fusion rifle in the game right now has a designated charge time. So you hold the trigger, it charges up, and it shoots. This is giving you the control of the charge time. The more you hold it, the more you charge, and then when you let go of that right trigger, then it will shoot. And if you charge it more and more and more, the shot is going to be more and more and more accurate. So this is just incredibly interesting. You can just hold the trigger, charge it for a fraction of a second, shoot it, but it's just going to blast out in all directions. That might be the right answer if an enemy is right in front of your face. But then, if you want to hold it for a very long time, let's say 5 seconds, you can get an extremely accurate blast on an enemy at very far medium range. This is brilliant, and again, I can't believe this hasn't been done with fusion rifles. This kind of idea of letting you decide how long the charge is going to be would be a great idea to introduce for a certain foundry of fusion rifles. Let's say Hawka fusion rifles, which currently aren't in the game, giving them this ability and having a bunch of fusion rifles running around with this ability would be absolutely awesome for Destiny. And again, I can't believe this isn't in the game because it's such a good idea. Now, the last exotic concept is just an amazing one. I'm sure a lot of us still have the Khvostov, that gun at the very beginning of the game, the first gun you got in Destiny with its cracked sight, and I know for me, I still have it in my vault, and I will still break it out and use it every once in a while. It's kind of a legendary gun in Destiny in and of itself. Well, what about the Shade, the exotic Khvostov concept by EVOL Music? And as you can see, it is a Takenized Khvostov. This would have been just an amazing addition to Destiny with the April update. And Bungie, it's not too late! Now, the exotic perk for this beautiful weapon would be Door to Darkness. Killing an enemy without getting hit will boost your agility to 1.5 times the max agility and increase the weapon's stability for 8 seconds. This will all have a 10-second cooldown. The magazine has 36 rounds and will add darkness to your screen until pitch black with the last round. Now that's a very interesting ability. Like, getting a kill without getting hit is going to increase your agility, already very useful, and increase the stability of the gun for 8 seconds. Of course, you're then going to be reloading a ton more often, because as you shoot this gun, your screen is going to get darker and darker and darker until in the last round you can't even see. And even then, maybe halfway through the magazine, your vision is going to be decently impaired. So you're going to be, again, reloading quite a lot with this weapon. Very interesting ability. But again, I think the main thing is that I want a Taken Khvostov in the game. Bungie, make it happen. Now that's going to be it for the exotic concepts we're going over today. If you want to submit your exotic concept idea for weapons or armor, all you need to do is reply to the comment in the thread that I'm leaving down in the comment section down below. So I'm going to make a comment and it's going to say, put your exotic concepts here. Reply to that comment with your idea. Make sure to upvote that comment as well so people can see it. And when that comment thread fills up with the 500 response limit, which it often does, I will make a new thread that you can reply to as well. And don't worry, Benjamin actually takes ideas from both of the different threads. And if the first thread gets filled up and I'm a little late to making the second one, just tweet me and I'll do it as soon as possible. Now, as for some tips to getting selected, I would really kind of emphasize 2 things. Firstly, you've got to consider, is this idea overpowered? You know, getting a kill and then immediately getting a huge overshield is probably overpowered. Most things that increase damage are going to be overpowered. You've got to consider this when designing your idea and have trade-offs. Now, secondly, you have to consider, is this, possible within Destiny? An assault rifle that gets a kill and then turns you into a bear is cool, but that's never going to be implemented into Destiny. Try to think of grounded ideas that could be introduced into Destiny tomorrow and no one would bat an eye. Now, although the main reason for these videos is just to share some awesome fan-designed exotics, there's no reason to think that Bungie, although they can't copy word for word, pixel for pixel, the ideas we're sharing today, but there's no reason to think that some reiteration of them won't eventually make its way into Destiny, and that Bungie might get inspired by some of the ideas we're sharing today. Now that's going to be it for today's video. If you support this series, remember to simply rate and share it. It helps me out a ton and it helps get these ideas out there. If you want to see more Destiny content and don't want to miss next week's video, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. Now, if you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.